Students that go on these service learning trips are not from one specific college. We actually work with different colleges. Our organization is not exclusive to any one college. So we have a lot of different students that apply. And so how we accommodate that when we have students that are in a different place that can't maybe come to our pre-trip planning, but we want them to be a part of that pre-trip planning, is we actually Skype them in, FaceTime, whatever we can do so that they can actually be a part of that meeting. Then, we get ready and we pack up on a plane and we go down to Belize. And everybody comes in and still looking like they are a deer in a headlight and don't know what's going on, and that's the way we like them to look when we get there. Or after the students have gotten kind of used to their digs, we go and do an excursion. We went on a jungle boat tour this last time, and we ended up at the Mayan ruins, Lamanai.
It's a long walk up to the top of those things, the temples, but it was beautiful, and it was so cool to see and how those structures are still there, and there's so many more that we don't even know about.
So they get to see the beauty of the country, of where they'll be staying for the next 10 days. We have formed friendships and bonds with our particular vendors, and we have Natalie, who is our amazing diving person that takes us out to Shark Ray Alley, and we pet the sharks and the stingrays, which is, I always tell the students that it's not mandatory but highly encouraged, and that I have come back from every trip, so will they.
I've been on a snorkeling trip before, but never where the guide like swam with you through the water and was like, hey, look at that, that's what that is. And it was really cool to experience, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then feeding the tarpon was terrifying.
And then we'll go out to Kikaker and have lunch. It's a little island off the coast of Belize, and we'll just kind of sit. I'll let the students go shop a little bit, get some t-shirts and stuff like that. And then the following day, we start working. We put them in the classroom, we let them assist the teachers. That gives the teachers in the classroom the much needed one-on-one time with those students that are struggling with literacy. It's extremely appreciated and very beneficial to those younger students as well, because they don't get that one-on-one time as often as they should.
They are expected to put in more time almost and do more with the things that they do have than teachers other places are expected to do with all the things that they have. I mean, in the classroom I was in, they would like make a poster with a paper and reuse the same paper for 5 different activities that they were having to do that day and the next day. And you don't see that here because we have tablets and we have smart boards and whatever else you need in a classroom. He drives like 2 hours there and 2 hours home every day to be with those kids. And he's the only male that's in the building. Everyone else is female. So that's another thing that you notice. There's not a lot of male involvement with the children.
I can remember the first day I came in, there was half of the class was absent. And I asked the class where the rest of the students were. Oh, they just won't come to school. And I asked if they're sick. No, they don't want to come. They come when they feel like. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That was new for me. But then as the months or the weeks came by, up to now, I would say there is a 99% of students attending school. The only time they would miss is when they really have an emergency or they're sick. Otherwise, they're in class.
Talking with the teachers, they all love those kids and they would do anything for them, and that's why they're willing to drive hours to come to work to be with them and to teach them.
The fact that their access to clean water has to be paid for is extremely disheartening, because a lot of times there is not the money there to actually purchase the water. We had one instance where one of the kids lost their shilling, which is equivalent to a quarter in the US, and they lost their shilling and was crying hysterically because they weren't going to be able to buy a pouch of water. So one of our students obviously took out her quarter and said, go get a pouch of water, but that's the kind of, issues that they deal with. So the access to clean water is extremely limited in that school. So as a result, a lot of the students wanted to do something to help that.
I've never been in a situation where there were children literally begging me for water to drink. And that was just heartbreaking. And obviously I didn't have enough in my one water bottle to give 60 different children. So now we're going to be able to put the big container, like the 5-gallon buckets, she's going to put them in the school and in the Gateway Center. Yeah, the big drums of water. That's not through the water system that they have. It's separate, clean containers of water.
So what we did was we did fundraisers until we got enough money to actually put a clean water drinking fountain at the Unity School, which we'll be providing either in March or in July of this year. Basically, the Ministry of Education told us that they had a need, and the need was for enhanced literacy skills, or us enhancing what they're learning in the classroom. And so we thought, what better way to do that than to give them a little outlet in the afternoons, let them come to the Gateway Center and have fun, but while they're having fun, we could incorporate literacy into everything that we were doing. We partner with the teachers at the Unity School, and we asked them to give us the most literacy deficient students that they have, so that we can help them progress their literacy skills. During the program, what they get is they get about 45 minutes on a computer where they get to progress their literacy skills. That's very essential to them because they don't ever see a computer in the day. So when they come to the Gateway Center, they have access to these computers. We put them on a program, we test them, and the particular set of students that we've been following, we've been testing every time. So we can see where their literacy is either progressing or not progressing. And then after they leave the computer room, they will go to art. For instance, if they're doing like a wreath for Christmas, ornament for they're going to take home, they'll get little Scrabble letters with that wreath, and they'll have to spell out words so that they can actually see what they're doing and put the words together and put it together on a wreath. And whatever module they go to, they're getting literacy incorporated. So if they're doing creative snack, where we're showing them how to make creative snacks that they can go and get with their mom in the market, then they have to spell the ingredients. If they're doing team sports, then they're having to do spelling as they're doing this team sports. Each thing incorporates some form of literacy so that they're just progressing those literacy skills throughout the program. Unfortunately, sometimes we work with limited resources, even at the Gateway Center that has more updated resources. Just this last time we were in Belize, we had to improvise because the computers, none of them were working. So the need for resources that we can put in there to sustain this program, and the need for people. It's extremely important to this community that we keep our promises and that we always come back. And that's my main priority, is that we're always there. Honestly, without literacy skills, you have no voice in your community, you have no voice in your government. So we want everybody to be literate and able to have a voice in their community. So at the end of our program, one thing that the children always know that is always going to happen every single time we come is they know that if they come to the program every single day, at the end of the week or the end of 2 weeks, however long we're there, we're going to have a water fight. And so that's kind of how we keep them coming back for more. And I'm going to tell you, they come to that water fight and they have a blast. It does become kind of a sad event when they're leaving, but with the kids, what they do is they have a big presentation at the Unity School. I always like to make that, although I'm putting it on this video, I always like to make that a surprise because it's so emotional and I would love to watch it. I mean, that's the best part of it for me, is watching that unfold and watching all the undergrads, kind of figure out their place in this whole thing.
Came down the line of us and hugged every single one of us, and some of them were crying, and handing us all these little cards that they had made us, but it was like the most precious thing I had ever experienced in my life, I think. Just standing there trying not to get emotional while they're all coming, just wanting to love on you. They're so willing to give and so willing to love on you. And it's funny because that's what we went there to do. And it's like we get it back 100% and maybe even a little bit more. I think one of the main things, it's just they're so full of joy. And I feel like when we're there, and it gives them something else to focus on rather than whatever it is that's going on in their lives. And maybe they don't have awful situations at home, but I would guarantee that some of them do.
Jonathan and I, this past trip, we would go and get the kids from the school, and we would walk through the neighborhood and bring them down to the Gateway Center. Some of these homes don't have electricity. Most of them don't have running water. And walking through this neighborhood, you see why Camp Toucan is so important to them. It gives them a place to come. It gives them a place to forget about their stressors. These kids see things that we would never see. Had 2 students that had their father shot right in front of them in their one-room home, and the body was taken out while they were standing there. These are the things that they deal with on a daily basis. And to know that they can come to Camp Toucan, even if it's just for 2.5 hours, and kind of chill and sit back and relax and play games and smile and laugh and goof off and, you know, be kids, that's why I think it's so impactful.
If you have any interest whatsoever, like even the tiniest interest in doing something like this, do it. Like, don't question it, don't hesitate, just go. If you're willing to expose yourself to those kinds of hard things that we don't see, we see poverty, but not like there in Belize. You can't take yourself away from it afterwards. You can't detach yourself and say, oh, well, that stinks for them, but I'm just gonna keep on doing what I've been doing. Even if it's not everything you expected, I promise there's something to be gained from it.